Hey, you got Bruce McGee here on the Bruce for Liberty podcast. No, I'm not Bruce, the Weathered Soul today. We're 14 hours removed from our podcast last night, but I wanted to debut today the Bruce for Liberty podcast because I've got a lot of important stuff to say today after the debacle that we saw yesterday in Congress. That was the coronavirus stimulus bill, the package, and the omnibus bill that went through that equaled about $2 trillion in money that the United States doesn't have. Now, the Bruce for Liberty podcast didn't want to start off on this note, but here I am, and I'm not going to be short for words here, guys. I'm so angry I could spit fire this morning, and I shouldn't be surprised, but nonetheless, we're spiraling out of control, and the Congress just signaled that they will never, ever listen to us. And in fact, what they do is they pander to their lobbyists, their corporate sponsors, their supporters, and countries outside the United States and their own pockets. The omnibus bills will continue to serve as a catalyst that will destroy what's left of our private economy. And our private economy are those small businesses and all the businesses that have went under so far since the coronavirus has hit. It's a tragedy, guys. This really is a tragedy. And I can't, I am just beyond myself right now. I am spitting mad that we had, or that the Congress had to pass an over a 5,000 page bill that they got 2 hours before the vote. It is just incredible. I just can't believe it. It's not enough that we have ignored by our country by giving us a paltry piece of the pie during the worst economic downturn since the Great Recession of 2008 and the Great Depression back in the 1930s. It's just incredible. And we chose to be complacent, as I predicted before on the Weathered Soul podcast, that we were going to vote these jokers right back into Congress. And we made a couple little adjustments here and there, but it doesn't matter, because basically what happens is that they still come in and they're just going to do for their lobbyists, their corporate sponsors, and everything else. The voters don't mean a thing. All the voters do is we vote them in because we're complacent. We don't do our homework, and it's just this whole bill, this whole passing of this coronavirus stimulus package and this omnibus package is not a congressional failure. It's a win on their parts. It's a failure on us. It's a failure on us as Americans for being blind and just thinking that government is going to take care of us, and it's not. It's not going to take care of us. And the premise for the Bruce for Liberty podcast is this: we're where we're at. I mean, we've been voting in our politicians for decades and decades and decades, and I'd love to have this utopian libertarian aspect to my life and my government, but that's not going to happen. That's not reality. So what this podcast is about, Bruce for Liberty, is of trying to get those people on the right, trying to get those people on the left, trying to get those little L libertarians, trying to get those big L libertarians, trying to get those socialists, trying to get those communists, trying to get everybody in between on board and come on back and let's talk about our freedoms and our liberties that we have not had, and we keep giving away every time a crisis comes, every time something happens that apparently the public can't control, and we give it to the government and says, here, fix this. That's not what we have our government for, because our government, apparently, we work for them now. It used to be a situation where they would work for us, but they haven't worked for us in such a very, very long time that we have just become complacent. We go, we put in our vote and we turn around and we walk away and we hope things are better until the next 2 years, until we come back to the next most important freaking election that we ever have had. This is getting sickening, folks. It is just, we have just lost our will to remember our rights and how to govern ourselves. I mean, it's over. It's been over. And I thought Americans would wake up in 2020, not to reelect President Trump and not to elect Joe Biden, but at least come to a realization that we're at a crossroads, guys. We're at a crossroads. I mean, we're probably at a crossroads back in 2016, 2012, 2008, 2006, 2000. I mean, come on. I mean, how many crossroads do we need to get? I mean, is this fork in the road that we have now, this omnibus that's supposed to keep the government running till September of 2021? Is that the last one? Hell no, it's not the last one, because we keep getting ourselves more and more and more fiscally irresponsible. We're letting our Congress, we're letting that get in our way. Forget about the president. Forget about the president and what they do. President Trump. You can say what you will about President Trump. You can say what you will about the upcoming Joe Biden presidency. But, they really have nothing to do with what's going on economically in this United States. Who does have that kind of power is the Congress, the House, and the Senate. I'm calling on President Trump to veto this bill, both of these bills, because they're filthy. They are just unequivocally filthy. But no sooner than Trump, if he does the right thing to veto this bill, in my opinion, Mitch McConnell, Mitch the bitch, we're going to call him, and I will always call him Mitch the bitch on this podcast, is already preparing to do an their right to veto the president's veto to get this bill through and make it law. It's an abominable. It's abominable, people. I just do not understand this. Let's go over through just a little bit of where this money is going. 26,400,000 is going to the Kennedy Center. Why do we need the Kennedy Center? We didn't need the Kennedy Center before President Kennedy got shot, right? Why do we need it? The Smithsonian Institute, $1 trillion for the Smithsonian Institute to keep it open. Why don't we just mothball that thing up until all this is over? We don't need the Smithsonian Institute right now. I'm sorry. If you want to go to Washington, D.C. and go see the Smithsonian Institute, we're going to have to wait till we can open it back up. And we have the funding for it. The National Art Gallery, $154 million for them. National Arts and Humanities, $167 billion for them. The Wilson H. Center, $14 million for them. Incredible. Foreign countries, Egypt, $1.3 trillion. Sudan, $700 billion. Ukraine, $453 billion. Israel, $500 billion. Nepal, $130 billion. Cambodia, $85 million. Pakistan, $25 billion. Asia, $1.4 trillion out of our money. I mean, basically, it's not tax money because we ran out of tax money before we even had the tax money, right? So where are they getting this money? Oh, well, the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve is not even a government agency. The Federal Reserve is a place where they print money. They go and they borrow money. So what is this all? It's all borrowed money, guys. It's all borrowed money, borrowed on the backs of our children, borrowed on the backs of our grandchildren. And everybody says, "Oh, we don't care. What kind of world are we going to leave for our children if we don't do climate change?" What kind of world are you leaving for your children when you keep mortgaging their future? I am fucking hot, spitting, freaking tired of this, guys. It's crazy. Meanwhile, after all this is all said and done, we're going to get a check for $600. $600 freaking dollars. That's what we're getting. I don't get it, guys. How complacent are you going to get? How complacent are you going to get? It is crazy. My friend Jason, he came in and he added a comment to my comments that I'm doing today. And he says, now you will know a few problems with this $2.2 trillion congressional bill. Hard to believe, but look it up, the congressional website for HR 748, which is this bill from the 116th Congress. Here we go. The American population is 330 and some odd amount of people. The stimulus bill was over about $2 trillion. Man, just how long is it going to go? How long is it going to go? $300 million for migrant and refugee assistance programs. $10,000 per person for forgiveness on loan bailouts. I kind of can agree with that. I don't want to bail out the people that are taking loans. I'm not getting bailed out for my mortgage. I'm not getting bailed out for the money I owe. And I don't owe a whole lot of money. I owe my mortgage, but I'm not getting bailed out for my mortgage. Why should students get bailed out for their student loans? I mean, that's another subject for another show that I have, but it's crazy. $100 billion for NASA. Why? Elon Musk and the other guy, are taking care of our space program. Why? Why do we need NASA for anymore? Crazy, guys. $20 million to the Postal Service, $300 million to the Endowment of the Arts, geez, just it goes on and on and on, guys. I don't understand it. I don't understand it. And if you're not hot spitting mad about this right now, you should be. And you should be calling the president right now. You should be on his phone and going like, you need to veto this bill. Do we need help right now? Do private citizens need help that are out of jobs? Do private businesses need help because their businesses are squashed and they can't open? Yeah, absolutely. But to go to monies for these things that they're just going to print out of thin air. So, why not give everybody $600,000? Why not give everybody on this list that I just read 10 times more money? If we're just going to print it out of thin air, why not? Why don't we just give it to them? Because it doesn't matter. We've just devalued our money just unbelievably. Meanwhile, our stocks are going up, and everything else. So our 401ks look great, but how long are our 401ks going to look great? We're about to take a hit. That's going to be 30 to 50%, if not more, in the stock market. That's going to correct itself, and everybody is going to be dead freaking broke, except for the fat cats on Wall Street, because that's what the Federal Reserve is doing. Printing money to prop up the bills when the stock prices go down too low, to make you feel like that you're worth $1 million and you're not worth a cent right now. You're not worth a cent. It's just sad. And I really hate to sit here and rail over the American people, what they've done, but this is your fault, guys. Every American out there, this is your fault. Those of you who voted for the same freaking establishment that went right back into freaking Congress, this is your fault. This is your fault. Tom McClintock, Zoe Laughlin, all those people that are in my district and my state, I'm sorry. No more votes for you. Not a thinking thing for you guys. Sorry. I'm done. I gave you, Zoe, my vote again, and you voted against it again. Why? You didn't even read the 5,000 pages. Your little office people read it and said, "Oh yeah, let's go ahead and do this." They probably told you not to do it, but you did it anyway because you didn't want to lose your status in Congress. Well, you know what? You've lost your status in me. I've voted for you for the last, I don't know how many years. But that was the last time I vote for you. It's the last time that I vote that way. It's incredible. Anyway, so, the tagline for the show is be free, not as free as they permit, but as free as you can get away with. And we're going to talk more about liberty. We're going to talk more about getting together and having these discussions where I can get liberals and conservatives and Republicans and Democrats and libertarians and communists and socialists together, because I've got a lot to say and good things to say about a lot of people, but not today, because I can't pat you guys on the back and says, good job, we're getting $600. I don't need the $600. Okay. Personally, there's a lot of people out there that need that $600, but of course there's no accountability in this program at all. I haven't seen 1 ounce of accountability for it, but here we go. And here we are. So, as I said again, this is Bruce McGee, not Bruce the Weathered Soul. I get to sit here and I get to do this podcast without Dougie, and I don't have to succumb to anybody else's comments or feelings or anything like that. You're going to get this raw every week on the Bruce for Liberty podcast, and you might get it even more than once a week. It just depends on how I get riled up during the week over what's going on. But I want to leave you with one thing before I go. There is a viral video out there for that Rand Paul did on the Senate floor yesterday to a practically empty freaking congressional hall. But nonetheless, it is fantastic, and you should go see it. Go look at Rand Paul's viral video that he sent out there just this week. And this is Bruce for Liberty, and I'm going to let you go. So, guys, have a great Christmas, and we'll see you later. Thank you.